Rainbow Six Siege is a very hard game, which is why in today's video I'll be giving you my 3 best siege tips so you can rank up. One of the best tips that I can give you is to understand why site setup is the way that it is. For example, let's go to gym bedroom on Clubhouse. A lot of people will just make random site setup. They'll make the feet holes, the rotate here, and they'll make the rotate on this wall as well, kind of like this, but they don't actually know why they're doing it. Like, obviously they know that they need to use this to rotate between bathroom and short hall, but they don't know why it's vaultable, why it's on the right side and not the left side, why it looks the way that it does, why it's not flush with the reinforcement, right? Well, I can answer that for you. This rotate is vaultable and not crouchable or sprintable, specifically because people can get on this drone hole right here and shoot the feet of anybody in bathroom if you make this a crouching rotate instead of a vaulting rotate. Not only this, but because people commonly will run it through this breach, you don't want them to be able to run straight into bathroom without getting locked into an animation, which is why this is a vaultable rotate and not a crouchable rotate. But just by you purely understanding that, now you may have learned that there's an angle from this drone hole to kill anybody in bathroom if they don't make the rotate correctly. So now you just learned a new angle because you learned the site setup. You also learned that if they don't have this rotate here, you're able to sprint into bathroom and make some plays if you have smoke grenades for your left and for your right. So now you just learned more because you know the way that the site setup is supposed to be. We can go even further with this, right? If you put a reinforcement on the left, why are we reinforcing the left? We're reinforcing the left so the people who get onto this breach can't shoot you through when you're playing inside of bathroom. Now you know probably that there's supposed to be a guy playing in bathroom just because you learned why that reinforcement is there. And you can do this with every single piece of site setup. Why do you reinforce certain things? Well, there's a reason. Why do you put rotates where you put them? There's a reason. Why do you put feet holes all along the gym wall all the way over here with a reinforcement next to the feet holes and a rotate right next to that? Like, why do you do this? You put a rotate here so that you can play on both of these windows without getting shot by the windows, but also have a rotate in between the two sites. You put feet holes here so that anybody inside of Master can easily kill anybody trying to plant in gym for free. You put a reinforcement here so that if you have a Logi rotate right here, it's not actually going to get shot by the window. Now, again, you just learned something new. Now you know that if they don't reinforce this, which even a lot of high-level players forget to do, that you can get on this window here and hold a long angle onto the Logi rotate, right? So just understanding why certain site setup is the way that it is can unlock a lot of potential in you as a player in where you play and how you play, and it also gives you better positioning tips whenever you're trying to learn the game. To show you this, I'll give you another example. Let's go to top floor Oregon. A lot of people make head holes right here so that they can be inside of attic and watching trophy, or be inside of trophy and watching attic. These reversible head holes are pretty common, but most people don't know that you're only actually supposed to make these head holes if you're extending into armory and playing for master control with head holes here, and also head holes here with a reinforcement here. So why are you only supposed to use these head holes if you have this site set up over here? Well, let's say that you didn't set this site up and you only have these head holes here. Now, if I'm sitting in attic, they're going to take top main for free because no one's holding armory, making it to where they can use these head holes to kill anyone in attic, anyone lower attic, anyone on the kids rotate, anyone clear on the attic door over here. It's just very easy for attackers to get control of. If you've ever attacked this bomb site and gotten kills through these head holes from top main, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The reason that these head holes were in rotation in the first place is because Pro League players use these head holes to get a long angle from attic onto trophy, but they wouldn't have done that had they not at least tried to hold armory first so that people top main couldn't shoot them while they were in attic. So now that you know why you should be making these head holes and when you shouldn't be making them, now you know that, hey, maybe I need to prioritize armory control sometimes. Maybe it wasn't even a thought in your head to make these head holes and hold the master door so they couldn't walk in and get the wall for free. And now, just because you learned about one thing on the site and why you set it up, you've completely unlocked another part that you can play of the map. Not only this, but if you know that they have head holes here and no one's holding armory, now as an attacker you know that you can abuse these head holes to get free kills. So again, just by learning something as simple as one set of head holes, you learned a bunch of different things that you can utilize to your advantage, which is why learning exactly why you're setting up a site the way that you're setting it up is so unbelievably important. An even better siege tip, and my second on this list that I can give you, is to utilize cutoff drones more. If you don't know what a cutoff drone is essentially a drone that you use in order to cut off a certain part of the map so that if a defender crosses your line of sight, you'll know about it. Or if they don't, then you know that you can take control of this part of the map. So, for example, I'm playing Ash, and I want to take small tower, and I want to take shower, dining, kitchen, whatever it may be. I can do that by just having one drone right here, a cutoff drone in the prep phase, to allow me to be able to do this for free. So, let's say I'm droning in the prep phase, and I get my drone in this drone hole right here pretty early. Now, I know if anyone crosses this drone during the prep phase or a little bit after, that someone is in small tower. But I know if nobody does that, then I know top small tower is clear, bottom small tower is clear, all of shower hall is clear, shower is clear, shower 90 is clear, all of dining is clear, and I've cleared, that's like a third of the map that I just completely cleared because I had one simple drone, right? So not only does it make it to where you can rush easier, but it's also good for flank cameras as well. Let's say that I'm trying to push top white with my push. Well, now I have a drone right here that I can periodically check to see if anyone's flanking me from shower, and if no one's there, I can continue my push. Instead of just driving your drone into the site to red ping people, unless you're playing someone like Deimos, just use cutoff cameras like this to help you push. Especially if you're solo queuing ranked, you really need as much safe information that you can get to drone yourself into places like this with multi-purpose drones. Not only can you use cutoff drones to enter the building, but you also need to use cutoff drones to maintain your space in the building as well. Let's go to bank to give you another example. Instead of just running your drone up banana stairs into site to see what their site set up, what I like to do is I'll hop on top of this sofa right here, and then you can hop on top of the TV right here, and then you can use the TV to hop on top of this little ledge, and then you can get onto one of these chandeliers. It's a pretty easy camera to do that a lot of people end up doing. This is a great cutoff camera if you're trying to push lobby, because not only does it make it to where you can see where you're going and where you're trying to entry like I talked about earlier, but you can also see your only two other flanks. You can see the flank from tellers over there, and you can see the flank from bottom marble stairs over there, or E2, whatever you call it, doesn't matter, but you get the idea. It watches where you're going and the only two other possible places that they could flank you from, which is really, really nice. So if I wanted to play Zero, typically as Zero, I use cameras for flanks. I can put one in tellers. This camera will watch all of my tellers, right? And I can put one on the teller's wall to watch the open area by flipping the camera through the wall, kind of like this. And now I have both of my flanks covered, and I have a camera that I can use to actually get information on where I'm going. But just by me having a cutoff camera right there, that saves me 2 Zero cameras, or a third one if you want to use it to drone yourself in. I didn't need to put any of my Zero cameras here because this single camera right here did it for me. So now, those extra Zero cameras I can use to clear out positions. Let's say that I don't know if somebody's in elevator. I could easily shoot a camera into this wall right here, flip it over, and check elevator. Okay, no one's in elevator. I could also use that camera. Okay, no one's in the janitor hall, stock hall, no one's top marble. Okay, now I know that my crosshair just needs to be on the left. So I can clear this, I can clear this, I can clear this, I can walk up here, clear this, clear the windows, clear these windows. And now I've essentially taken all of this part of the map with one drone and one Zero camera, all because I used a cutoff drone to make it a lot easier and more simple, and also save a bunch of utility in the process that I can use to drone into the site. This camera right here allows me to see into this site, and as long as I have my crosshair on these double windows, there's not a single place in the bomb site they could be without me knowing about it, except for obviously back here. But if I save my cameras earlier because I used a cutoff drone, even that place isn't safe from me not using a Zero camera on it, which is why having cutoff drones like this is so important, and I definitely recommend that you start using them in your games in the most creative ways that you see fit. An issue with pre-placed drones like this, though, especially on bigger maps, is the more that you have to drone, the more likely it is that someone is going to actually walk by you and you'll misdrone them because you're droning the entire right side of the map, but they come from the left. Which is why the final purpose of using cutoff drones is for multi-droning. To show you this, I'm going to give you a better example. Let's say that the site on Villa is Statue and Aviator, but I'm doing a backsite take. You can utilize cutoff drones in the prep phase to make roam clearing a lot easier if you want to do a backsite take. So let's say that this is my prep phase drone, right? A lot of the times what I'll do is I'll get my prep phase drone to come from the bottom of Astro stairs if I spawned roadside, and then I'll climb on top of this box right here, on top of this box right here. I'll hop on top of the flag and then drive it up the flag onto the wooden chase here. And now I have a cam for my Astro stairs, but also my Astro, which makes it to where if I want to drone myself in to, let's say, you know, trophy, statue, master, whatever it may be, I can get on this drone. Okay, closet's clear. Okay, master's clear. Master split is clear. I know brick is clear. I know statue's clear. Okay, now I know Astro's clear. I know bathroom's clear. I have an Astro flank. And now I've essentially droned literally every single part of backsite by myself, except for like trophy, but I can do that later. just because that one cutoff camera made it easy for me to clear the right side, and this one made it easy for me to clear the left side. And because I did both at the same time, there's absolutely zero chance that a roamer sneaks up on my left while I'm droning the right, or vice versa, without me knowing about it, which is why multi-droning can be useful, especially if you're trying to roam clear, because that will happen a lot to you. You'll spend your time droning all the way up through closet, through master, into bathroom, into astro, and by that time, the kid that was in trophy, that you might have been trying to drone, has snuck all the way up from trophy, to top red, to statue, to brick, and to master after your drone's already out of master, into closet, and now he's sitting right here outside the window because he knows you're droning and that you misdroned him, and he's going to sit here and kill you. And you're going to be like, well, I droned this, how did he get there? It's because you only had one drone droning one specific area, and you didn't have a cutoff drone somewhere else that you could have double checked to make sure no one was flanking you, which is why having a cutoff drone, again, is so powerful, because you can make solo queue plays like that as well, which is why I personally love using it in my ranked games, and it's one of the biggest 3 tips that I can give you if you want to get better. Now, for my final and most important tip of the video is to be conscious of space management. This is the most underrated tip that you will find in any Siege video. Now, what exactly is space, and why do you need to be taking it? Space is just purely the amount of rooms that you have on the map. The more rooms that you have control over, the more space that you have. It's that simple. Why do you need to take rooms on the map? You take rooms on the map so that you can gain control of them, so that eventually you have control over the bomb site, so you can go for a plant, or so that you can get kills on anybody who is anchoring, depending on how you want to win the game. So naturally, if you need space on the bomb site to do all of those things, you naturally want to prioritize space, right? Well, how do you take space? Let's say I'm playing ace and I'm trying to take space. No pun intended. Typically, I'd want to open up this wall right here. Opening up this soft wall right here allows me to get a lot of angles onto the bomb site, but it allows me to do something much more important. Take space onto the bomb site. But in order to do that, I need my teammates to take space into rafters. If I don't have my teammates taking that space, then when I try to go for the plant right here, people on these head holes right here are going to kill me as I go for the default plant. Now, if I'm playing thermite and I smoked off my red and I smoked off these head holes, sure, I wouldn't have to worry about these head holes. But because my teammates haven't taken this space, they haven't taken this room, the person on these head holes is going to look and say, oh, this is smoked off. I can push up and take all of this space without getting shot right here. So now I can wallbang the guy that's planting. I can face check the breach and then shoot the guy that's planting. I can go below right here and nitro the guy that's planting through a hole that I pre-placed here in the round, right? So because they have all of this space that they can play around with and run around with, they create all of these angles in order to kill you when you're planting. So you need to take this space. How do you do it? You have a guy, maybe a Monty player, rush up to rafters. You have a Grim or a Capital player, open up these walls here and fire or Grimby the person on rafters. You have a guy on the doorway helping them do this. Maybe even a guy bottom garage who ashed below the breach to help you get the wall open, whatever it may be. They're all actively trying to take this room and take this space so that they have the opportunity to cover you from these common head holes right here so that you can get the plant down, right? Just because they decided to take space, right? They took rafters. Now you're able to maintain the space in CC right here, which is where the bomb is, because you have head holes here onto the door, onto these head holes. You're using this window onto the staircase here, the hallway here, the head holes here, and now you're able to maintain all of this space so that your guy can get the bomb down and you can win the round. If you had previously just prioritized getting kills, let's say that you killed the guy at rafters, but you didn't take rafters, you didn't take that space, then when you get a kill and you leave, someone else is just going to retake this area and make it to where you can't plant. So you need to be not only just prioritizing kills and getting the bomb down, but taking the space needed in order to do that. Not only that, but also maintaining it. Now that I've gone over the basic bare bones minimum of what space taking is, let's go over when you should do it and how you should do it for every role in the game. A reason that space is super important for attackers specifically is because it's very hard for defenders to retake the space that you take, which is why it's super important. So if I'm trying to push the basement site, having somebody push strip club to make sure no one is in bathroom and no one is in bar to contest me when I'm getting this hatch open or the kitchen hatch open is actually a pretty useful thing to do. In order to do that though, they have to take a lot of space. They have to take these 2 rooms here. They have to take lockers. They have to take all of strip club. They have to take all of tea hall. And then once they're here, they have to take the gunfight in bathroom and the gunfight in the bar just to take all of this space. to limit the amount of space that the defenders have to contest you. Funny enough, this doesn't really have anything to do with what I'm talking. Quick little side note, if you have a cutoff drone somewhere in bathroom right about here, and no one actually passes this cutoff drone, then you can take all of this space for absolutely free. Oh, cutoff drones! Thought I'd add that little part in there, but you get the idea. You want to be trying to take this space. So let's say that I'm pushing the basement, and I want to get the hatches open. Taking all of this room would be very crucial, because you want to be able to roam clear efficiently. Why does taking space when you're roam clearing matter? Because the entire purpose of a roam clearer is to hold space and to waste time. It's not to get kills. If I'm a roamer and I don't get any kills, but I waste 2 minutes of their time because they cannot flush me out of top main or bathroom, then I've completely done my job even if I die. So as an attacker, if you're trying to take space and not let them do their jobs, then you would try to take that gunfight and take the room that they're sitting in, much more than just trying to kill them across the map where they're not even going to affect you. Not only this, but if my team has taken the space of the 3rd floor, so I know 3rd floor is clear, I've taken strip club, I know that there's a guy on this lobby double here, and no one's on the staircase, then I know the only possible space that the roamer could be maintaining is inside of bar, or inside of stage, or inside of kitchen, or maybe if I flushed them out of there, then they don't have any space that they could possibly hold, again, because it's hard for them to retake, so then they'd have to go back to site, which gives me all of the space of the 3rd floor, the 2nd floor, strip club, stock, whatever it may be. So if you want to roam clear, taking space and rooms away from the defenders, even if you aren't killing them, is very, very important. So you want to prioritize actually getting control of rooms rather than actually trying to get entry frags, because entering isn't about entry frags, it's about entering into the building. Think of it that way. Now let's talk about something a little bit different. How do you take space onto site? If you took space all across the map to get roamers out of the map and into the site, how do you then take that space? I know a lot of people struggle with this because when I spectate lower lobbies, they're really good at roam clearing, but when they get to the site, they just kind of like hold angles and like bait and hope for a good kill, and they can't get the bomb down and everything fumbles and crumbles when they get down to the last 30 seconds. I see it happen all the time. So how is taking space differently on site different from roaming? Well, people who are anchoring typically are the last line of defense, so they're going to play their life a lot more, and they're going to hold the space and maintain the space that they're trying to hold a lot more aggressively, and they're not going to back down. The only way that you can possibly make them do this is by killing them or using utility to plant the bomb. If you want to kill them, the only way to kill them is by swinging them on angles or by using utility in order to help you with gunfights. This is where you would ace open the wall, right here, and where you'd smoke off the feed holes. Smoking off the feed holes allows you to push the hallway, and acing this wall allows you to take gunfights on anybody in church and blue so that you can get the bomb down. This is my point here. If you want to execute on the bomb site, you have to use utility in order to execute and create space instead of taking space of rooms like you would do on roam clearing. You have to create the space with utility, if that makes sense. I'll give you another example. If you're pushing dirt, there's not a lot of space that you can take because you got an angle here, you got an angle here, you got a bunch of people all inside of armor, you got an angle on the door, maybe even a rotate here, box 1, dummies, box 2, box 3, you got all kinds of angles you can worry about. So sure, you took all of the space of dirt, but now you can't do anything but maintain space. But that isn't true if you have smoke grenades. If you have smoke grenades, you can smoke the doorway there. You can smoke dummies right there, which will cover the door and cover the rotate. And now, if you know that this is clear, you can easily just run in and take the space. So if you ever want to execute on the site and you want to take space, you have to create it with utility. Now we've talked about taking space as an attacker, so let's talk about maintaining space as a defender. To show you this, I brought you to the basement of Nighthaven Labs with a roamer like Alibi. Now, like I said earlier in the video, if you want to be a good roamer, it is all about maintaining space. It is not about getting kills. Now, the way that you maintain space as a roamer is entirely map dependent. If you have a big map like Nighthaven Labs, you can be a little bit more lenient with the space that you give the attackers, because there's so much space that you can try to hold if you want to hold space on the roam. Again, you have a lot of different tries, whereas a map like Border, where you have no space you can give up if you want to win the round, where you need to be holding every room like you're an anchor. But for now, if you want to be an actually good roamer, a map like Nighthaven Labs is pretty easy to do it for. Let's say again you're playing basement. This hatch is reinforced. If you want this to stay closed, you have to maintain the space of rafters and garage and maintain your presence here in order to keep it closed. Here's the thing though, if they want to clear you out, they have to go IT, they'd have to clear all of Pillar, they'd have to clear E-Box, they'd have to clear Meeting, they'd have to clear Conference, they'd have to clear this site right here, they'd have to clear Blue Stairs, they'd have to clear the Rafters door, they'd have to clear all of Downstairs, which is twice as big as the Upstairs. So you get the idea. If they want to roam clear you, they have to clear a lot. If they droned you out and they know that you're here, they're going to have to clear every room in order to get to you. They're going to have to drone this room. They're going to have to drone this room. And if you're sitting inside of this room waiting for a drone, you can shoot the drone. If you shoot a drone and an attacker sees you shoot a drone, they're going to re-drone it, which wastes a lot of time. Time that you could be spending maintaining this certain space. But even if they don't and they go swinging, you could have easily just backed up to a different room, and now they have to drone this room, and you can shoot the drone, and now you can back up to this room. But if you're in a big map and you're roaming, you can give up space pretty easily. You don't have to maintain it as much, except for when it comes to power positions like the hatch here. But again, like I said, this playstyle is completely map dependent. The smaller and smaller of a map that you go, the more aggressively you have to maintain that space in order for your team to not crumble on the site. Not only is it different if the map is big or if the map is small, but it's completely different if you're far or if you're close to the site. Let's say again, as Alibi, the site is the basement, and I'm roaming in the 3rd floor. In order to clear me, they have to clear all of the 3rd floor, but because it's the 3rd floor and it's not really close to basement, I don't really need to risk my life in order to hold all of this space up here. If I see a drone, I can shoot it and back up a room. I see a drone, I shoot it, I can back up a room. But once we get to this room here, where they can start playing vert on the site, and they can start killing your players, shooting your mirrors, covering their plants, this is a room that matters a lot more if you keep it or if you don't keep it. So for this room, I would hold a lot more angles. If they shoot a drone, I'm not going to leave the room. I'm just going to reposition and take the gunfight when they have no information on me, right? So now this is a point where you'd want to maintain the space a lot more than you'd want to give it up. And like I said, on smaller maps, you're going to maintain space a lot more just because you have less of it to give. But if you want to be an effective roamer, you really have to think about space and maintaining it and wasting a lot of time when you're giving up and maintaining that space to be an effective roamer. Let's say instead though that you're an anchor. How should you worry about space in order to win? If you're an anchor, that means that all of the space, being the bomb site, matters, which means you cannot give it up. There are certain scenarios where giving up the bomb site if they're overpowering you to go for a retake later is viable, but that's a bit of an advanced topic that I'm not going to go over in this video. For the majority of solo queue players who are around high silver or low gold, you need to understand that as an anchor, your job is to hold the bomb site, which means you want to be giving as little space as possible. If they're starting to pressure you, you pressure them back. If they're starting to take rooms, you use a nitro cell to kill them so you can retake the room. But that's essentially how you need to be worrying about space as an anchor. And just by worrying about space as an entry, as a support, as an anchor, or as a roamer, you clearly can see how your role is defined and therefore be better at your role. Now that I know that roaming is about maintaining and holding space and wasting time more than it is about getting kills, I'm going to start taking a lot less risky gunfights, which makes me live longer and makes me win games more. So like I said, just because you understand the value of maintaining and holding space, you are now 10 times better at every single thing that you're doing as a role, which is why I put it in the top 3 biggest things that you need to learn as a Siege player from somebody who's experienced as I am. But with that out of the way, that is it for today's video. My name's Alka, check out this next video, and I hope I'll see you there. Later.